When I say the silver crisis, I don't mean a shortage of metal. I mean a shortage of clear thinking. I believe you've heard about the silver tsunami. 10,000 baby boomers retiring every day, not enough saved. Healthcare costs rising. Social Security under strain. Everyone's worried retirees don't have enough money. That's not the crisis. The real silver crisis is retirees with over $500,000, $700,000, even $1 million savings, who are so afraid of running out of their saves that they refuse to spend. They live like they're broke while they're rich. And that psychological trap destroys retirement faster than any market crash. I'm Jay. What I'm about to show you is one of the most overlooked financial psychology failures of our time. It's not about having too little. It's about being unable to enjoy what you have. This affects anyone with aging parents. And the solution is the opposite of what you are thinking right now. Let's dive in. Meet Carol and Thomas. They're 71 and 73. Retired for 8 years. They have $680,000 in their retirement accounts. They also have a paid-off house worth $450,000 and $3,400 a month from Social Security. Their net worth is over $1.1 million. They should be enjoying their retirement, traveling, visiting their grandkids, living the life they worked hard for 40 years to build. Instead, Carol reuses tea bags. Thomas won't turn on the heat until it's below 55 degrees just to save cost. They haven't taken a vacation in 6 years. When their daughter Michelle offered to pay for a Disney trip with the grandkids, Carol said no because the flights are too expensive, even though they are not paying for the trip. They have over $1 million and live like they're one emergency from poverty. This is the silver crisis nobody talks about. And it matters because 64% of people fear running out of money more than dying. So retirees hoard. They deprive themselves. They turn retirement into an anxiety loop centered on not spending. And there are many out there like Carol and Thomas. Studies show spending drops 1.7% to 2.4% per year after age 65, not because retirees can't spend, but because they're psychologically stuck. Here's how the trap forms. For 45 years, they followed every rule. Save 15%, max the 401k, live below their means, delay gratification. Every purchase went through one filter. Can we afford this? That mindset built their wealth. Now it's destroying their retirement. Saving became their identity. Frugality stopped being a strategy and became who they are. After decades of saying no, they can't suddenly say yes. They're trapped in what psychologists call accumulation anxiety. For decades, money came in regularly. Spending felt justified. Now their accounts only go down. Every dollar spent feels permanent. Every purchase feels like a step toward disaster. So they don't spend, despite the math showing they could safely spend $50,000 a year for decades and still leave an inheritance. Even their advisor tells them they're fine. The psychology overrides the math every time. And the fear isn't really about money. It's about 3 deeper things. First, loss of control. When you're working, you can adjust. In retirement, income is fixed. One bad market year feels catastrophic, so hoarding becomes control. Second, lifespan uncertainty. What if Thomas lives to 95? What if Carol lives to 100? Not knowing how long the money must last, they assume the worst and live as if it must last forever. Third, identity. They were always the responsible ones. Spending freely feels like betraying everything they stood for. So they keep restricting, even when it makes no sense. Here's the real cost. Carol wanted to visit her sister in Arizona. The trip would have cost $800 total. But Carol said no. And 6 months later, her sister had a stroke. She's now in assisted living with severe cognitive impairment. Carol will never have that trip, that conversation, that memory. She protected money she was never going to spend and lost something she can never replace. That's the real silver crisis. Not running out of money, but running out of time. And it doesn't stop with them. Their anxiety becomes someone else's burden. Their daughter Michelle is 45, earns $78,000, has 2 kids, and is saving for college. Last month, Carol panicked over a $2,800 property tax bill. But when Michelle checked their accounts, $680,000 was resting there untouched. The bill was only 0.4% of their liquid assets. Still, Michelle spent 3 hours calming her mother down. This happens constantly. During repairs, maintenance, routine expenses, every issue becomes a crisis. Michelle isn't managing finances. She's managing fear. You might think better to have too much money and not spend it than to run out. Wrong. Because while they wait, life moves on. Their grandkids are 8 and 11. By the time Carol and Thomas feel safe traveling, those kids will be grown. The window for memories is closing. And here's the irony. If wealth only exists on paper and never improves your life, what was the point? They spent 45 years sacrificing to build this nest egg, and now they're sacrificing retirement to protect it. So what's the fix? This isn't about convincing parents they have enough money. They already know that. It's about breaking a decades-long psychological pattern. Start by naming the real fear. Ask, what's the worst-case scenario you're trying to protect against? Make them show the math. Usually, they can't because the fear isn't logical. Next, replace budgets with a spending plan. Identify what actually brings joy, then show the long-term impact of spending on it. Make the numbers real. Then start small. 1 nicer dinner, better coffee, 1 upgraded hotel night. Small wins build new patterns without triggering panic. Finally, reframe spending as an investment in what matters. Saying no to Disney wasn't responsible. It stole memories from their grandkids. That's not saving. That's misaligned values. The truth is, the money is already spent. They spent their time, energy, and health earning it. The only question left is whether they'll ever get a return. Because if they don't, someone else will. Carol and Thomas will likely die with hundreds of thousands untouched. Michelle will inherit it and enjoy the life they were too afraid to live. That's the silver crisis. Not too little money, too much fear. And now the question is simple. Are you going to let your parents or yourself fall into it?